Have a seat, Reverend. You don't want to sit over here?
This will be fine. Thank you.
Ah, yes. I forgot. You're used to sit-ins and such.
I find they generally better for your back.
Not too good for the head, as I recall. But I'm surprised you even have one still with all that non-violent action you've been preaching.
You'd be surprised how much one can take when the purpose is clear.
Perhaps. But I believe some folks just naturally have hard heads. You know, when I came to Selma 2 weeks ago, I almost paid you a visit.
You should have. Plenty of room in the jail.
I try not to visit jails voluntarily.
Well, I heard your speech on my behalf. It was very moving.
The younger people seem to enjoy it. In fact,
Thank you.
if I had spoken any longer, we all would have came by the jailhouse, except we wouldn't be planning on staying. Of course, there probably wouldn't be much jail remaining after we left.
Then I should thank you for not speaking too long. Being in jail is unpleasant enough. Having it torn down while you're there isn't my idea of how to spend a Sunday afternoon.
Oh, and you could thank your conference planners for that. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have spoken at all. As it was, they spent several hours after I spoke trying to calm the crowd down.
Maybe they're trying to move them in a different direction.
Calming them down certainly would have done that.
Well, since you didn't visit me then, I'm visiting you now.
Yes. And I must say, I'm impressed. I didn't think you visited northern cities too often. I would imagine our roads would be a bit more difficult to maneuver than those country roads you're accustomed to.
The road was meant to be traveled, then it will be.
And if it's destroyed?
It'll be rebuilt. Or it wasn't the road for us.
Still the dreamer.
And you're still the revolutionary.
Thank you.
I didn't realize I paid you a compliment.
Ignorance is sometimes a serious form of flattery.
If I didn't know any better, I'd think you're trying to upset me.
A man that allows himself to get hit upside the head certainly shouldn't be getting upset at some mere words. Would you care for some water, Martin?
No. Thank you.
Some tea?
I'm fine.
I want you to eat this.
No, thank you. I'm not hungry.
I don't care. I want you to eat it anyway.
I don't want it.
It's good for you.
That may be, but I still don't want it.
Now, what if I make you eat it?
And just how will you do that?
By force if necessary.
And I'd still refuse.
So you mean to tell me that you will refuse to eat this apple, even if I resorted to force?
Yes,
Even if it's good for you?
even then.
You're right, Martin. You can't force someone to take something that they don't want. So try as hard as you can to make white folks love us. But the truth of the matter is that they won't swallow the truth, even if it's good for them.
Isn't it odd that you should try to tempt me with an apple?
You see the apple as a temptation. I see it as nourishment.
We see what we want to see. I suppose.
And yet some of us don't see anything at all, even when it's standing right in front of us. For example, when you came by the front of this hotel, did you notice the woman standing outside? She was wearing a short red dress and heavy makeup.
The prostitute?
How old would you guess she is?
30 to 35?
She's 17, Reverend. Although, After 3 years on the street, age has no real significance. By tomorrow, she won't even know how many men she slept with tonight. She can't even tell from the money she makes. Her pimp collects that after each trick. She's part of a larger congregation, but you won't find them in any of your churches. They would curse your God if they were alive enough to curse, but they're dead, Martin. The living dead. If they weren't so used to moving around so often, not staying in one place too long, someone would have swept them away by now.
I assume you have a point to all this.
I know something of the living dead. Young women working the streets and their pimps. When you're around the same people every day, you won't notice the change right away. But then all of a sudden, you're aware someone is fat or old or without hope. But the point of all of this, Martin, is to show you the hopeless and to let you know that the number is growing every day.
Do you have a solution?
Unity.
I've never been opposed to that.
Martin, your unity is sitting around the campfire while the cross is burning, singing, "We shall overcome." If you were ready for unity, Martin, you'll be singing, "We shall come over." Every time there's an injustice, we shall come over. Every time there's a black woman being frightened by a white face behind a white hood, we shall come over. Every time and any time there's a need to stop white people from persecuting black people, we shall come over. And we will stay until black people feel safe again.
We also sang, "Ain't gonna let nobody turn."
It doesn't matter what the song was. Nobody ever got their freedom from singing. On the other hand, if you're prepared to do some swinging.
Violence? Revenge? Is that the unity you seek?
I care about survival, Martin. I care about the quality of that survival. No, I don't seek violence. I seek to stop it. But I will do that by any means necessary. I have that as a duty.
Violence never stops violence, Malcolm.
But marches do.